finally, we are going to do fact families. We're going to take this multiplication with decimals and turn it back into division. You are going to need to write kind of small. I have 2 pencils in case I break one of the leads. That's the only reason. And we are not going to write all of them. For example, you don't have the greatest amount of space over here. So it's going to be a little bit different the way that we write these, especially because you don't have the space on this side of your folder. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to write them down over here. So we have 5,000. We are going to divide it by 5. And that comes out to be 1,000. We will then take 500, divide that by 5, comes out to be 100. Didn't mean to do that. I don't think you can see that, but I hit my mouse and my screen changed. Now we'll do 50 divided by 5, which will equal 10. Now we want to do 5 divided by 5 will equal 1. Now we're going to take 5/10 and divide that by 5, and that will equal 1/10. Then we will take 5/100, divide that by 5, and we end up with 1/100. Now we will take 5,000ths and divide that by 5, and we end up with 1,000th. So we've done this set. Now we're going to leave ourselves an open space, and we will do set number 2. So this was set number 1 from day 1. Now we are on set number 2. 500 divided by 5/10, don't forget the decimals, will equal 1,000. Then 50 divided by 5/10 will equal 100. And then 5 divided by 5/10 will equal 10. I have to keep myself at the same spot. Did you notice that? Then we need to take 5/10, divide that by 5/10, and end up with 1. Then we have 5/100, divide that by 5/10, and we end up with 1/10. Now we have 5,000ths, divide that by 5/10, and we end up with 100. Now we take 5/10,000ths, divide that by 5/10, and we end up with 100th. Now you can see we're not going to have space to do all of them like I mentioned before, but by doing it this way at least we have space to do 3 of them. So we're going to leave out this smallest one. We're going to do what we did on the third day in this section yet. So to do a fact family, remember, you start with the multiplication answer. In this case, it is 50. I'm just trying to see how much larger I'm going to need to give myself as far as space here. So it's going to need to be quite large. So I'll give myself a fair amount of space. 50 divided by 5/100 equals 1,000. 5 divided by, a little closer for you, 5 divided by 5/100 equals 100. 5/10 divided by 5/100 gives you 10. 5/100 divided by 5/100 comes out to be 1. 5,000 divided by 5/100 gives you 1/10. 5/10,000 divided by 5/100 gives you 1/100. And 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros and a 5. So thousandths, 10,000ths, 500,000ths divided by 5/100 comes out to be 1/100. So take some time to first of all make sure you have these copied down. You might want to pause it now and pause it again. Once you have them all copied down for sure, what patterns do you notice? And these are just the fact families for the powers of 10, and it's not recording. Yes, it is recording. Oh, good. For some reason, it acted like it wasn't recording. I hope it did record. I'll check it in a moment, but these are the fact families for the powers of 10. We didn't even look at the fact families for the multiplication yet. As far as when it's 5 times 7, we just did 5 times 1s and 0s. Still, lots of patterns to be found. Make sure that you have this copied down. Fact families for today.